Oh, goodness. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because I went through this and never recorded. Hi and welcome. If you're new here, welcome. I hope we can earn your subscription today. This is different yet again, although it follows the technology timeline I posted earlier this week. It's not about a Surface Duo. No. This is my first endeavor into real electronics. So the ColecoVision system was the first thing that I got. And then I attached on the Atom computer and, things go from there. So I'm going to talk about that in another video. So give it a look, see what it triggers for you maybe. So the technology path really started with this right here, ColecoVision. I kept going into these electronic stores, and probably Circuit City is the best I can remember. Circuit City was kind of like what a Best Buy is today here in the US. And there were various games, Atari. This game, the ColecoVision, had the best graphics, and you could see it. You walk up to it and you look at the game, and it's like, wow, the graphics were so much better. Now they're like not very good compared to what we have today, but back then, very, very, very good. The game controllers were actually pretty good as well. I think in playing on some other games and then playing on this game, the controllers were nice and the graphics were awesome, and the game selection was really good. So I kind of like this. So let's look at some of the games. Now, I'm not saying Donkey Kong Jr. was my favorite game, but it was, I think, the most popular Coleco game. Had to be the most popular Coleco game. Now, it followed, and I'm going to have to kind of go through things here, and I'll turn off and turn on. It followed Donkey Kong, which again, these games were in arcades. We went to these arcade boxes, as you can see here on the box here. We'd go to these game consoles and play on them. And a lot of those games were put onto our various in-home game consoles. So Donkey Kong, I played it, but I owned it, I should say, and played it, but not going to say it was my favorite. Neither one of those. They were fun to play at their time, definitely. Another game, and this was one of my more favorite space attack type of game, Zaxxon. I played Zaxxon on the gaming systems at the bowling alley. That's where we would go. There weren't really any arcade centers quite yet. But Zaxxon, I really liked Zaxxon. One of my favorites. I probably liked playing Zaxxon more than Donkey Kong. Although Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. were fun, I'm not saying they were not. Another one that I loved playing, and the experience wasn't quite as good as it was at the arcade, but that was Defender. Defender and Zaxxon were two great games. We had Asteroids that kind of spurred this whole era of types of games, these types of games, and Defender was one of my favorites in the arcade. There was a movie called War Game, really good movie back in that time frame if you've never seen it. So we had a game to match War Games. Of course, you had to have it. It was pretty popular, mainly because of the movie. River Raid, another game, kind of you're doing this military stuff. It was an interesting game to me. Knowing some people that had been involved in river fighting in Vietnam, which we weren't too far off of that era, 10 years. It was an interesting game to play as a result of being able to relate it to maybe some stories that I had heard. I'm just going through. This is in no specific order, but Cubert was a fun game to play, hopping him around, and um, Cubert in some ways might have been more fun than Donkey Kong. So it's kind of one of those burger time. I like burgers, so you go through and build your burgers and squash things with your burgers, or your things that you put on the burgers. Pretty cool. Pitfall. It was hard to find this box because I kept coming across Pitfall 2. But Pitfall was a game, and this one kind of, as you look at the box, one of the things that we encountered back then was the boxes and the graphics on the box many times did not represent the graphics of the game of what you were actually seeing. Obviously, they were more real on the box than they were to what we had in the game. But Pitfall was another one, played a lot. I think Pitfall was one of the included games with my console when I got the console. Now, there was another game that required another purchase of hardware, and this was Turbo. So Turbo was a lot of fun because you had that steering console, right? So you felt like you were driving, and as I remember, there was a pedal too, if I remember correctly. So all this stuff is gone. Gave it away. Sports person, I had football. Being a football guy, I liked the football game. I loved playing the baseball game. That one was a lot of fun. Also, I remember playing basketball, and I'm pretty sure that it was on the ColecoVision, but I couldn't find a good box cover for the basketball game. Maybe it didn't exist. Maybe I need to do a little research. The game that I probably played the most was Dig Dug. I liked Dig Dug. The first step was obtaining this ColecoVision. And now we're talking early 80s right here. I think 83, 82, 83 time frame is when we're talking. So a lot of these games came out between 82, 83, whenever it was, up until probably 86, 88, something like that. I remember getting rid of the ColecoVision in 89 or 90. I gave it to a friend, someone who had become a friend, was a customer, and we developed a good relationship, and we both shared a high interest in both Coleco and the Atom computer system. And he wanted to do some things with it, and mine was no longer being used. So that led to me giving it to him. So I no longer have it. Somewhat regret doing that, not having this stuff today. I think I'm going to look into now some emulators and maybe play. Maybe that's something I can do on my Duo, is play some Coleco games. I hope you found that entertaining, because that's really all it was. There's no information there. It did make me think that I'm going to get an emulator and play some of these things again. I've thought about it. Now maybe I'm going to see what I can do for my Duo. So, hey, give it a like, share it so some other people might get triggered. Subscribe. And most of all, if you made it this far, thanks for watching.